Hello, so today we'll go through all of the hardcore rewards, and they're definitely not worth it because they don't complement any build in particular, they don't create their own builds, and more importantly, it's super annoying to play hardcore mode just because of how the game works. Remember that you have to constantly upgrade your character, but in order to upgrade your character you have to farm, but the more you farm, the more chances you have you will die. Also, keep in mind that there is no clear way to farm in the beginning of the game because you need a very specific loadout in very specific areas like the Scavenger's Bubble or the Explorer class in Ash. Anyway, I recommend you play a few adventure modes and that's about it. Maybe sometimes play co-op, but don't overdo it. It's not worth getting these rewards. So we have 6 rewards. 4 of them are rings, 1 of them is a necklace, and the other one is a gun that is more or less useless. We have the Provisional Ring, the whatever, the Crystal, the John Scavenger Ring, the Drizir Sniper Sigil, the Daredevil Charm, and of course the Savior Rifle, which is at Brabus. Now, let's go over all of this. So you get 1 for completing each world. If I remember correctly, I don't remember what world this is, but let's find out. So this is Lost Zone, 100%. This is Nerud. No, so this is Yesha. So this is Yesha. This is for finishing Nerud on any difficulty, meaning you can do it on the easiest difficulty. Of course, this is Losom. And that means this is the Labyrinth, and this one is for Root Earth. So as you can see, I have 5 maps, 5 rewards. Let's buy them. And let's go and also buy the rifle. And then we'll speak about each of them a little bit, but not too much, because, like I said, they don't particularly go well with any builds or any order. I wish there were mutators as well for finishing the game. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Actually, it's better like this because you don't have to do it. Savior Rifle, which is a modified fusion rifle.
Keep your gun loaded and your wits about you, stranger.
Yes, whatever you say. Now the Daredevil Charm in this game works a little weird because you have 4 pieces of armor, right? That makes you're going to get 30% to all damage, 12% movement speed, but you're also going to take 20% more damage. So you might be thinking, well, why don't I just go and finish the game on, I don't know, Apocalypse or any other difficulty like this? Well, the problem with this is that it's not really that you take 30% extra damage, is that the problem is this is not really worth it because usually you get 20% damage or 40% damage by most of your trinkets. For example, you can just equip the Ankh of Power, use a relic, and that's 30% extra damage to everything. So it's the same thing, except it's kind of limited. So yeah, it's not really worth using the Daredevil Charm, unless you're just, you know, trying to impress someone or make a video. Right, now let's have fun finding the rings. Now the Ahane Crystal, like I said, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time it's kind of annoying because you cannot really get all of the effects in one go. And I was making a build that I might have used the ring for. Now the problem is in this game is there are no elemental damage guns, and I think that will be changed with all of the DLC. I think a lot of the guns in the DLCs will have elemental damage. Because currently you will have to do something like this in order to get all of the damage. So let me see. I guess I'm thinking, but yeah, okay. What is that hammer? The gas giant? No, not hot shot. Electric shot. Overflow. In order to get, let's say, all of the effects on an enemy, you'll have to kind of improvise. So this is nice, but it's not really that easy to use. So we have fire and bleeding, and then we have force corroded over here. Acid. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people don't remember this. But this is exactly like in Remnant 1. The hammer that inflicts acid damage or corroded. As you can see, you can even get it very easy for yourself. and it deals acid damage per second plus increases the damage taken by 10%. So if you use something like this, you're going to deal, well, let's just do a little bit of math. 30% extra damage to the enemy because you have fire and bleeding. Well, for each status effect, so again, they should make it more clear. But anyway, you can just basically get 20% extra damage on an enemy, or like I said, 30% because the corroded will give you an extra 10% damage. It's quite nice for some builds like the Aphelion with the twisting wounds, or a build where you change your weapons a lot more, but it's usually very good because you have the twisting wounds which you can put it on any gun. So it does have some use, limited use, but some use as well. No, what have I done? Now I will not know where this ring will be. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the sniper sigil, well, this is an interesting one because you might think, well, it's useless. And you might be right, it can be useless. This weapon over here is mostly designed for shotguns or anything that is very, very short range. As you can see, this has a 10-meter radius. So what basically this does is increases your minimum damage. So no matter the distance, you'll always hit for 40% of the damage instead of 20%. Now this can be a little weird because you will not understand why this is like this. So 160. Okay, let's have fun finding the rings. Yeah, it was my mistake because I moused over it. It's over here. So basically it can turn your weapon into something that can be used at all times, but like I said, it's not really that useful because you have other things that improve it as well. And other things that are much better. For example, the Fey Ring, the Hunter, that increases the range of all firearms. This will be 13 meters. So I don't know, it's up to you, but like I said, it's not really worth it because you can use this with the range it has, or you can use the Fey Hunter or other weapons, and I think there was a trait as well to increase the range of your guns. Long shot. Yeah. So basically you can make what? This have about 19 meters range. So this is one of the most useless rings in the game. It's so niche to the point where, I don't know, you would need to be very creative with the build for it, but at the same time you're not really be gaining much from it. Anyway, I just wanted to explain because this is not exactly completely useless, but at the same time is more like an utility ring than anything else. Now what about a Dran Scavenger ring? Maybe I should. Kind of funny that it has the hand over here. Now why is this so weird? Because again, some people might not understand why this is like this. Well, you will get regeneration basically all the time, plus a % increase to all damage dealt. You might think, well, this is useless, but this is actually one of the more useful rings in the game. Depends on what class you use and what you do with it. But you basically will have 0.5 healing per second, plus 8% to all damage dealt. Again, all damage dealt is very, very rare to be found, so even in most boss fights, you will be picking up secondary or primary ammo. So this is one of the best rings in the game, but sadly you only have 4 ring slots, and one of them will always be taken by the Bright Steel ring. 2 other slots will be taken by burden rings, like the crit chance, like the Regeneration, like the all damage but decreased range, and so on. So yeah, I guess this is your all-purpose ring, and besides, it can be useful in many situations, especially when you're playing as a summoner. The Tranquil Heart, I guess you can kind of double down on the healing, but it's not really needed, and use the root water and so on. Anyway, it's just a good all-around ring that can basically complement any build. So I guess it's one of the better rings, probably it's the most useful out of the trinkets you get from the hardcore rewards, because it actually does a lot of things and can be implemented in most builds. Provisional Ring. Sadly, this ring has been bugged for I don't know how long, maybe a month or 2. Now, this is supposed to be one of the rings that will help you do a lot better with your 1-shot or 2-shot builds. This was exceptionally well made for shotgun builds. For anything that has only one shot or has a lot of, I don't know, damage potential. Now the problem with this one is that it doesn't really reload your gun per se, it's hidden. So as you can see, it didn't reload it. But I mean, how should I put it? It reloads it, but it doesn't show it. So this will have 2 shots. It will have 1 shot as well. So it's a huge bug in my opinion, because it's one of the things they did in Remnant 1 and now they cannot seem to make it work in this game. Yeah, it's going to be impossible to know if the weapon is reloaded or not. I think it reloads in 3 seconds, kind of like 3 seconds. 1, so let's test it out. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but it's going to be very hard to see or to tell because I don't know. So basically this ring is bugged, but it works. Even though it doesn't show it, it works. And also you can probably pair it with this ability a little bit. This doesn't work either. What's wrong with the game? I mean, the more you play the game, the more you encounter bugs that shouldn't be in the game. Besides, the things that don't work in Remnant 2 work in Remnant 1, so they couldn't even copy the basic mechanics. Okay, so let's not get angry. So as a short recap, you get a Daredevil Charm. I want you also to see the text over there. The Drusil Sniper Sigil. Provisional Ring, which looks kind of weird, but works, trust me. And then we have the Ahane Crystal, which probably is just meant to be a tongue twister. Looks kind of nice as well. And then you have the Juan hand ring. Is the Dran Scavenger ring. Okay, we're back. Now the problem with this weapon, as you can see, is that it doesn't really hold up to the best weapons in the game. The bow will shoot 2 arrows, plus the damage is a lot better. 161 versus 116. Then if you look compared to the Deceit, as you can see, it's much better with the Deceit. You also have the always hitting the weak point. Depends on how you play it. Plus also the Merciless is a little better just because of the damage and how it scales and some of the other things. Of course the Nightfall, the Spore Bloom. Anyway, the point is that this is one of the weirder weapons in the game. So it's kind of like try a build with the Archon and the Summoner, which is mostly designed for the mod power. It's still pretty hard to use just because of it being a single shot charge rifle. But I don't know, the reload speed seems very fast, so let's use this ability. And basically make everything burn with it. You can probably use it with the energized neck coil, the burden of the follower, the timekeeper jewel, the archer crest. And as you can see, this will basically make it do a lot of AoE damage. It will kill stuff like crazy. I guess you can replace some of these with some other stuff, but it's actually working pretty well like this. Because you will inflict burning damage always, and I think this is one of the weapons that actually works almost all the time with the energized neck coil. Don't ask me why, but it seems to work. So every time you shoot someone, it will cause the explosion, plus the fragmentation, plus the burning damage. And I also wanted to test it with another thing. Wow. This is so weird. Never really shot this mod until now. Not any damage. Enemies within 7 meters become bound to the primary target after impact and share 60% of damage dealt to them. So you can probably use a build like this which will clear the screen in seconds probably. So let's show that again. I don't know, I like making builds in Remnant, but this gun seems like it's very rough on the edges because it's not very good at anything. It's kind of outclassed by a lot of guns in the game. So let's have this one. As you can see, we deal a lot of damage per second, but that's not the deal, that's not the point. So I'll probably want to do something like this. And I think this will refill the mod power very fast. Yeah. That looks disgusting over there, the way it deals damage. So once it's over, yeah. I guess we need 3 or 4 shots and then we can use this thing again. No, the... Okay, so it also reloads the weapon. So I guess if you just use the fire shot, you can basically use the weapon more and more. Like other weapons, like the Ouroboros of the Deceit. So I guess it's not that bad in essence, but I guess it's kind of hard to make it useful with certain builds. Probably it will be better for a Hugs build, but man, I really hate those Hugs build. Okay, let's try this as well. Ah, no more edits. I'm tired of editing stuff. So let's see how it is with this. And this. This works a little better. Oh yeah. I think this should be fully auto, but you can almost make it fully auto if you just fire a little faster. Of course it doesn't do as much damage, but at the same time the reload speed is much better than other guns. Plus you can reload it by just using a relic. So I don't know, I'll have to try and get the glutton trait, because that seems like that's one of the more important things to get on your character, especially because as you can see the gunslinger can basically make a lot of builds super useful with that. So I don't know why they would lock it behind co-op. But then again, that's a very niche thing to use anyway. Anyway, that's all of the items. Bye bye.